All right, we're here. It's Wednesday night. So
Yes.
thanks everyone who's joining us. This is our Wednesday night series. We're doing a series of live chats about all kinds of topics. So Cindy and I are part of the Travel Collective. We have several meetup groups. You can find us on Facebook under the Travel Collective. We try to post all the events there. And Saturday, we've got a coffee chat coming up. So
Yes.
check out the details there. This week's theme on Saturday is animal stories. And we always get such amazing animal stories. So you can come share a story or just bring your coffee or your drink, depending on what time zone you're in, and enjoy. You can always just say, hey, I'm here to listen and have some fun. So no
Yeah,
pressure.
those coffee chats are my favorite. I learn something, I get inspired. It's just good stuff, lots of good stuff. So today's topic, we picked a topic for today, and we're talking about like how to spice up your business trip or your family trip. This is something that, lots of people travel for different reasons. We talk about that a lot. People travel for, to see new places. Sometimes you're traveling to visit your family. Sometimes you have to travel for work. You may have to repeat locations if it's for work or for your family. And that can maybe get boring or monotonous or I have to go back there.
Yeah.
But there are lots of ways to make it fun, right?
Yeah, oh, exactly. So Cindy and I came up with a quick list of 5 items. And I think the first one is maybe choosing a different neighborhood. And go ahead.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm just thinking about that. Yeah, choose it. Go ahead.
Well, like a lot of people I know have the same conference they like to go to, whether they belong or in business or it's something they like to attend each year, if it's a travel show or whatever it is. And oftentimes it's the same city, and you think, you know what, I'm used to staying here. Why not mix it up and pick a different neighborhood? And maybe you have to get there a different way by taking a different mode of transportation, take your Uber, take your public transportation, but that way you're in a different area. And just by means of doing that, you're going to find new places to go and it'll spice it up a little.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think finding if you're going for family, you can, talk to your family about, let's visit a different neighborhood, not just, if they live in one area. You're probably used to that area and you shop there and hang out with them and they know that. But I mean, you're visiting their family is another opportunity for them to kind of pretend vacation, right? Like, let's
Right.
go do something interesting on a Thursday night or step outside of their comfort zone a little bit. And you can be that inspiration for them too. Like you can do the research and go, hey, I really want to do this. Let's go check this out when I'm there. You might find that that just kind of spices up the normal,
Yeah,
annual
exactly.
visit, right?
Right, exactly. And oftentimes, depending on where your family lives, there's usually somewhere that's nearby that you don't normally visit,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's a different little small town or a different, part of the city, something. And you just take the brunt of it and say, hey, you know what? I really want to see this. Come on, guys, let's do this and be the
Right.
catalyst to create some new memories in a new neighborhood.
Right, right. And I think our second tip was looking at different accommodations. And I wanted to bring that up along with, extend your trip. I know you and I've talked about how we do family trips and sometimes you stay with your family, but then you stay in that area or, you may venture out, but just go by yourself for a couple of days,
Yeah.
right? You either add on to it at the beginning or the end. You can do that with a business trip as well. I know when I was traveling for work, I always like to take advantage of that flight. If I had to go to Boston or it's like, I'm going to go a night early or I'm going to, stay an extra day. Of course, my company's not going to pay for my hotel for the extra day or whatever, but at least I can see that space with the same flight and return at a different time. Adding a couple of extra days to your trip or the weekend is always a fun way to
Oh, I think
spice it up,
exactly. Yeah,
right?
exactly. Especially if you're trying to get there for business. I think it makes it a little less stressful to get
Yeah,
there like maybe a full day ahead of time. And you know what? It might cost you an extra $100 or whatever the hotel room costs. But
right.
oftentimes, if you contact the hotel direct, as we often talk about, get on
Yes.
the phone and actually talk to person, say, hey, you know what? My conference is coming. I have a booked room for these dates. How much would you charge me to add an extra night before or after, or maybe both ends? And
Yeah.
oftentimes I'm sure they're willing to work with you because they want that extra business too.
Yeah, yeah. And then looking at different types of accommodations, right? Maybe not staying with your family in their, family home the whole time, maybe taking a night at the beginning or the end to stay somewhere else. If you're at a conference, maybe you step outside of that conference hotel because you're going to be stuck there for 2 or 3 days or whatever the amount of, or 5 days of the conference. Maybe get an Airbnb at the end and go stay in a different neighborhood. And just kind of take advantage of the opportunity. It's always so disappointing when I would travel for work that I'd be in these beautiful places, but I wouldn't have time to see them because you're busy hustling from, whatever meetings
Right.
to meetings or conference sessions. And then at the end of the day, you're exhausted. So you really don't get to see the area. There's a
Yeah.
lot going on. So both getting out of the conference hotel
Yeah, exactly.
and getting out of the conference like home can be fun and make it a little more exciting, especially if you have to do it every year. I used to go to Orlando every year. I went to Orlando every year, probably for 10 or 12 years. And I definitely did this. I definitely added to my trip time. I didn't do it the first few years, but later it was really beneficial for me to have, when I could, both financially and time wise, when I had the extra days or time, it made it more enjoyable. I actually felt like I saw the city, and sometimes multiple people from the conference would stay. So we would like
Oh
venture
yeah.
out, right? So you
Yeah.
still do some stuff. So
Right, because
those are,
otherwise, you like you said, you get to these places and you really only feel like you saw the conference, the people, and you kind of felt like you were in robot mode and
yeah,
never later you get home and you're like, Boston? I didn't even get to see any of Boston. What was going on?
right.
So what do we got for number? Are we on three?
Number three, I think we talked about time of year. So if you're not going to a conference that occurs at the same week every year, visiting family or visiting a certain area, picking like go in the winter instead of the summer or the fall, or right. That I think picking
Yeah.
a different, spicing that up really will make a difference in the location. Yeah.
Right. And maybe you have been going to the same city for a conference. Maybe depending on your position in the organization, maybe making a suggestion of changing up time of year. Sometimes that's important to look at because depending on how large the organization is, maybe there would be a benefit to changing when it's held. You might get cheaper rates. There's a lot of things there too that you might be able to adjust, but definitely if it's for family, try a
Right.
different season because otherwise it can get, we all need to travel often for Christmas, but why not go, in the middle of summer instead? Because you'll see that place with whole new eyes and get to enjoy different activities.
Right, right. And that is one of the great things as your family moves around the country or around the world, you get to visit them in their new location. And then it would be nice, right, to go visit them. I mean, my son is moving to Japan. He leaves in a couple of weeks,
Right.
and I'm so looking forward to Japan. But there's going to be so many different times to go, right? I want to go in the winter,
Yeah.
like you said, and I want to go in the summertime. So, he's going to see his mom probably more often than he wants. But, there's lots of, you want to go when, like you said, you want to go at Christmas or you want to do that, but maybe next year, moving it around, go either in the fall or go in the spring, or so that you see the place. And you also, when you're visiting family, the beautiful thing about choosing a different time of year is you get to see their life at a different
Yes.
time of year. If you're visiting children, grandchildren, nieces and nephews, their life is very different from summer no school to
Oh,
winter
yeah.
break, right? There's just like who they are and what they do and the amount of time you have to spend with them, which is also true with your family as well. So picking a different time of year can help.
Right. I definitely
Do
agree.
you know
What do we
what was
got?
number four?
What was four? Let me see. I think I wrote it down.
Food and things to do.
Food.
So yeah, and that kind of goes along with what we've been talking about, a different neighborhood. Sometimes we, especially with family vacations, we have to be the impetus to do something
Yes.
else. They're in the rut, right? They're just
Right.
living their lives, right? And so you're going to go and they're going to take you to the restaurants that they go to on a normal basis, which we want to see too, right? You want to,
Yeah, you have your old favorites that you want to go to, but yes, we have to sometimes be the one that says, you know what? I read about this new restaurant that
yeah,
opened up, or, yeah, it might be a little bit of a drive today, but I heard about this thing that's happening, on a Saturday. Let's just go. And you have to
right,
sometimes be the one to like kind of encourage change because often it is easy. They know you already like these old favorites, which is
right.
great. There's nothing wrong with that, but
No,
it gets routine and it's nice to change it up by
And
doing
it's good for
something.
them, right? Because they get that impetus. I know I spent some time with my mom a few years back. I stayed in her with her for a few weeks, and we kind of we after a while we'd done those things, right? We'd done
Right.
all the old favorites and everything that you want to do, and it was like, well, now what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know. What is there to do? And we sort of looked at each other because in Iowa, where we're both from, there's not a
Right.
whole lot to do. So I mean, I called my aunt, and we just started picking little small towns, like, oh, this small town has this, this
Yeah.
small town has that. Let's go on a road trip. So we started doing that. And had I not been there, neither one, my aunt or my mom, would have done it, right? Because they didn't
Oh,
have the
exactly.
impetus to like kind of
Right.
push them along. And we just had a fantastic time. So it really added to my
It,
trip to visit them,
yeah,
right?
it really does. And even the food choices, I know oftentimes, my dad has favorites, but then I'll have heard about something or look something up and I'll be like, well, come on, let's go try it. And they're more encourage them to get out of their comfort zone and go try it too if you're along for the ride as well. So
Yeah, exactly. It's real easy for them to kind of just, I mean, just like you are in your own hometown, you know where you want to go and the places you get in a rut and you just sort of do the same things all the time. And when family comes, again, I want to see those things. Like when I visit my son, I want to see his
oh
regular
yeah.
taco place and where do you go get coffee. I want to be part of that. But also after you've done it, let's do something else.
Right, exactly.
Let's spice it up after I've been there 5 or 6 times, so that there's a lot of different ways to kind of add to the travel. And I think that's why we're talking about this today is that, again, this is how one of the ways we travel, right?
Right.
Family, it's not all of the ways we travel, but we all do this and finding a way to make it more fun.
Right. And I just wanted to pause a minute. If anyone's joined us and you're listening, say hi over in the chat,
Yeah.
or if you've got a tip or want to ask a question, we'd love to hear from you. We appreciate we're trying to do this something new a little bit every Wednesday. I know sometimes some of you can't connect on Saturday, so if
Yeah.
you're here,
Yeah.
drop a note
Well,
before we
yeah.
jump to
And if
our.
you're listening afterwards on the recorded session, just drop a note. We do watch the comments, so we'll try to answer your questions even in the comments. So, all right. So number 5, our 5th one, right? What was that one? I think you had that.
It's creating a theme,
Oh,
and we kind of
yes.
came up with this because we did an interview on one of our past videos, probably a good year ago. And
Yes.
it's like it was such a great idea of creating a theme for the trip. This particular mom and her family, they do a summer trip. So as part of creating that summer trip, it's someone's job to come up with a theme. And she talks about it a lot in our video, which we'll add
Yeah.
that into the comments and share that.
I'll drop it in the chat in
But
case
that
anybody wants
goes
it.
into things like, maybe what you're, create a character for yourself. I mean, can you imagine how much fun if you're going to a work conference or a routine thing, if you just create a kind of a new persona and a new character and you dress different and maybe you're listening to different music and you
Right.
incorporate all those fun things. It becomes more like a little bit of a, party atmosphere, I guess,
Well, and I think we've talked about themes like with even just creating your vacation around like a history theme or a food theme or, music theme, like pick something like that. And then when you visit that location, so if you just decided, this is going to be the food week, I'm going to go to the conference
Right.
and I'm going to check out all the food in the neighborhood. And then the next time you want to check out all the history, let's look at all of the history of the neighborhood. Or you're going to do architecture, or let's go listen to live music. If you just pick anything, right? One or two of
Yeah.
them, and just kind of overindulge, if you will, in that
Right.
for that time. You'd be surprised what you can find when you really start looking, right? Let's look
Right.
around all the places I could see live music in this little town in Oklahoma, right? That might be really interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And it might force you to get out of your comfort zone and like
Right.
talk to some, whoever you're staying, talk to the staff, like, hey, where do the locals go for live music? Because it's not always obvious, maybe it is
Right.
a little bar or a little, bookstore that does a folk thing. You never
Right.
know where these things might be hiding and they're not always obvious. So it forces you to like dig a little deeper, talk to the locals, enhance your whole experience. And that's, Cindy and I talk about this often, just ways to make it more exciting. I mean, we only get these opportunities not as often. And I think just going through what we've recently gone through, I think we're all welcoming any type of travel, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, I think a theme would be fantastic for like a family vacation, also telling your family that you're visiting, like this time I want to find the best tacos. I want to try
Yeah.
5 taco places, or I really, really want it. Like, who has the absolute best Danish in town? Let's go see like the 4 places that, Yelp is recommending, and I want to, taste test them. Or it would just give you an infuse
Oh
some
yeah.
excitement in the time that you're visiting there. It doesn't have to be important. Like you said, it can be silly.
Yeah, it could be completely silly. Maybe you want to go find all the thrift shops, secondhand
Mhm.
stores. Oftentimes those are interesting. Or,
Right,
go to the library. Even maybe they're doing a free tour you didn't even know about. Or like you said, use
right.
history as a guide and actually really learn and dig into the area. Maybe I'm sure you'll learn something. There always seems like there's something to learn.
Yeah, and go listen to the video that I put in the chat, and we'll put it in the description, because this mom just had some great ideas for how to theme up her vacation and get all of the kids involved. Everybody seemed to have like, an assignment of something they
Yeah.
were supposed to do, and they that made them pay attention. I think when you're dealing with children, anybody under the age of about 15 on a vacation, it's like they have a
Right.
tendency to sort of check out, or they're on their phone or on their video game. They're not engaged. And what she did with the theme really got people, her kids really connected, right?
Yes.
What was
Yeah.
happening.
Right.
So it made it a game and made it fun. And doing that on your family trips, or even with your conferences. I mean, I say kids, but we are all kids at heart. And
Right.
having a game or a challenge or something that we have to do, just again, it makes it exciting. So I think I love the
Oh, I
idea of
love the
themes.
idea of themes. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think even if you could do that with some of the holidays, because sometimes at holidays they can be hard and they can be stressful for
Mhm.
people and emotional. So maybe coming up with a theme and floating the idea 6 months ahead of time and say, you know what, this year we're going to change it up and we're going to pick X theme and do these types
Yeah.
of things around it. It might make a real beautiful experience and some new memories.
Yeah, very cool. So, all right. I don't see any questions. This was an interesting topic. So I hope people got something out of it tonight.
Yeah, I did
Um,
too.
yeah. And tomorrow night, our video is coming out. What's the video? I had it on my screen just a moment ago. The video topic tomorrow. Oh, we're talking
Is it?
to, I think it's Cara about Savannah, right? I think that's
Yes.
what's coming out tomorrow.
Yeah. And actually, I think she goes to Savannah as a repeat destination for
Right.
a book tour, which, right. I think that's
Right.
part of it too.
And she has some really good tips for, spicing it up. I think we were really inspired having talked to her a little bit about what she does to make it. And she repeats places. I loved that she had, certain restaurants that she goes back every time when she goes. And then she uses some of her time to check something new out, which is all really cool. So check out her time in Savannah. So Savannah's beautiful. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, same time, everybody can watch that. And then we're doing coffee chat on Saturday. So
Right.
hopefully we'll see some folks there as well. So check the description and send us a comment, like our video, subscribe so you can see it next week. I think next week's topic, I will look and see, we're talking about how to travel with friends and stay friends.
Yeah, I think that's a good one, right?
That is a good one. It's not always easy, and traveling with friends and family can be really difficult, but also can create some of the best memories. So looking forward to that. So
Yes.
thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Join us on Saturday. It's 9 a.m. Pacific time. So
Yep.
make the adjustment, check all the different places, Facebook, and we'll try to add the link here in the description as well.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
take care, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. They're both nice.